Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine, giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. This is episode 165. 165 episodes are in the books. I'm Mike Milan, also known as Cash Flow Mike. That is my friend, my partner, and the CEO and founder of Dry Run, the best cash flow forecasting software in the business. Blaine Birch, what's up, man?
Some exciting news. It looks like we're streaming live to Facebook for the first time in weeks. So they fixed something on Riverside side that I've been on them for weeks, and I just checked and it looked like we're actually live there. So that's exciting because it's been way too long.
See, and you hid that from me. I didn't know we were doing that.
I told you about it probably, but you probably forgot.
Well, no, I didn't know it was working. You told me you were working on it.
I just found out just like now when I tested it. I expected it to not be working because we're like weeks in a row of me checking it. It's not working, and I just went, hey, I think I see it. So no, we're live for the first 7 weeks. Interestingly
enough, I had 3 people ask me for the link. So I don't know if we got new subscribers, new downloads. I mean, this thing, it's like just a little engine that could, man. This thing just keeps growing, keeps going.
Oh yeah. No, it's been fun. We've got beer sponsors. I'm just queuing them up here because got to mention all of our lovely beer sponsors that keep us into the hops while we're talking.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'll start off with Courtney, right? I'll give Courtney her thing first. I'll just start there. I mean, The love of my life. She's there. She surprised me. Sponsored it. But I'm starting with her because I want her to know that I'm going to say go Texas A&M for this weekend, right? And the reason I say that is because our other beer sponsor, Devin, remember? He's an LSU Tiger fan. Fan. Guess who they're playing?
Oh, boy.
Texas A&M, right? So I'm in a pickle. Here, right? So, meaning that I got Courtney on one side, I got Devin on the other. They're going back and forth. They are shit talking like crazy about, who's going to win. It's LSU is coming to Cal Field. It's just craziness, and I'm in the middle.
Well, from a Canadian perspective here, I have one question for you. All what does the A&M stand for?
Agricultural and Mechanical.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. I kind of thought, I think I had the agricultural right. I was trying to think of what the M would stand for. So, okay. Gotcha. That's,
dude, I made that up. I hope that's right. I hope that's right. I went to Baylor. We don't have like extra letters and stuff in our stuff. I mean, so look at A&M. I think that's right. I think it's like an engineering and agriculture. Courtney's got a degree in ag economics.
Okay, interesting.
That's why our landscaping looks so good. This girl, I mean, she can put some stuff in the ground and make it blossom and grow and all that. But I do got to tell you, remember, Devin bleeds purple and gold. This is a guy that I'm sure his whole month rests on this game on Saturday. His whole month.
So he's a big 1980s LA Kings fan.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, but I'm going to say this. Hey, I'm only saying it probably because Courtney doesn't listen. She doesn't watch. She doesn't, she just supports us silently in the background. Hey, Devin, go Tigers.
You gotta be careful there.
Gotta be a little careful. Gotta toe the line just a little bit. So
that might get you into a little bit of trouble. Anyway, and our other football fan that you are always going back and forth with, Baltimore Mike Milan out of Baltimore, Maryland, and thanks again, Mike, for giving us beer for our episodes. And this week it doesn't look like you guys will be arguing over football for the first time in months.
No, we are. He sent you saw the BS text he sent in about like going, hey, where's your quarterback at? And it's Lamar Jackson is, of course, he's fantastic. Stats this, stats that. He says, where's my quarterback? Because he's showing me all these stats. Mahomes isn't having a great year, but the number I sent him back was 6-0 because they are the only undefeated team in the NFL right now. So that's the only number that matters. I don't care about how many passing touchdowns he's got. He's 6-0. This guy wins.
I saw the text. I got to tell you, I didn't look that closely at it. Like, the numbers you guys are sending back and forth. So. Anyway, it's so yeah, we've got a bunch more sponsors to go through. We're actually like Courtney, Devin, Baltimore Mike. We still got a few more. Larry Weinstein, the casual cowboy out of Houston, Texas. Thanks again, Larry.
Yeah, and we still got Jackie York. Jackie York still part of it. So Jackie, the Blooming CFO out of Hawaii, V. Right? I think you have to say that. You can't say the W. You got to say it with a V. It's like Hawaii. Right? I think that's true, right? Hey, when you listen to people from there, I just did a seminar for the Central Pacific Bank, and they say Hawaii. So I'm not going. I'm going to do it because just like my Canadian's getting better when I say I'm going to give her. So
there you go.
Maybe my Hawaiian's getting better too.
Yeah, I'm like in the fall here. I should be at peak Canadian. So you can pick up some stuff this episode, and then within a week or so, I'll be starting to lose my Canadiana and picking up some American lingo for the next number of months here.
I think it's strange how you go to Arizona and you start to get a draw. They don't have a Southern draw, but you do for some reason. You start to pick up a little draw. I think so. I think you start to pick up a little draw. The
people we like hang out with the most must then, and I didn't probably realize I wouldn't think I picked that up. I just thought I pronounced words a little differently because you just keep hearing it, and that's I didn't think I got a drawl, but who knows? It's what I hear all the time.
I might be projecting. You never know. Might be me projecting. All right, so hey, who else we got? We got any more? Yeah, we got Rachel Barnett over at Gentle Frog, man. I'm gonna tell you what. I don't know anyone else that can teach QuickBooks to you better than Rachel Barnett over at Gentle Frog. So go check her out. If you want to learn QuickBooks, go check her out.
And finally, last but never least, neighbor Pat, who walks beer down to you all of the time. And I watch you drink neighbor Pat's beer. I never actually get to try it, but I'm going to thank neighbor Pat anyway.
Oh, speaking of, guess who's sponsoring my beer this week?
Irish Red.
He knows it's my favorite. Nice. He goes, can I bring down your favorite for the podcast? Absolutely. So it's like 9:00 at night. The guy's walking down, beer. This is like gold, my man. This is gold in my house.
I would love
Irish
to try
Red.
that one.
So I would love to try that that's what I'm drinking today. What are you drinking?
Oh, okay. So the topic today. Now, the topic it was like red flags in business. And I thought, you know what? There's nothing like a red flag in business. If you don't handle it right, it can become a mortal sin for your business. So I cracked a Péché Mortel, which I actually had probably just a couple of weeks ago. But my fridge is getting empty and I love this beer. So I just like, that kind of matches the episode today. And honestly, I would have come up with an excuse to drink this one anyway. So Dieu de Ciel out of Quebec, Péché Mortel.
Is it, I think we say Quebec, but you're saying it's Quebec.
We're at Western. We just call it Quebec. We mispronounce everything. We don't even pronounce like other people. Calgary. So it's Calgary. Edmonton is Edmonton. Like everything's just kind of blah, spewed out. So we mispronounce everything in Canada here. So, but I don't think they pronounce it Quebec. I think they call it Quebec there. But
okay,
it's been a while since I've been out there.
Does that really say mortal sin? Is that what that says? I don't know.
That's Péché Mortel means mortal sin.
So, Péché means sin.
And Mortel is mortal.
Describer. Okay.
Is death. Right. Yeah. Or mortal sin. And going back to my high school of French, when I grabbed this out of the fridge the first time a couple of months ago, I thought it meant dead fish, because I really thought Péché was fish. And
Well, that's
and then I
just
go,
Spanish.
why would they have a
That's
snake?
just Spanish.
Yeah, why would they have a snake? And then it's not a fish. And then I looked it up and went, oh, that's because I really don't remember enough French. For how many years I took French, I should be better at it than I am.
Hey, think about this. We don't just talk about business, beer, and BS. You learn stuff on this show.
This is probably the first and only thing you're going to learn today is Péché Mortel means mortal sin. There you go. You learned some French today. So that's pretty
you
simple.
learned some French. Good. So, hey, so this is interesting, right? So warning signs, and it came about, I was in Denver this week, right? So Monday and Tuesday, I'm teaching at the Bankers Bank of the West, which most people don't know that banks have a bank. Right? So, think about it, right? So, I mean, the Bankers Bank of the West is the bank for banks in the Mountain West region, right? So a lot of community banks and all that, they need somebody to help them, and they pull the resources, and they do credit processing or, credit card processing. They do a lot of the big functions that some big banks already have. So they'll do it for a lot of community banks all the way through the Mountain West region. Mm-hmm. Well, part of the service they give is community bank loan officer training, right? So, and I've done that pre-COVID, and I'm back now after COVID, back doing it again. It's amazing how the bankers keep sucking me in. Just because I love the banking, right? I love banking world, and I think I'm pretty good at it. Right. But here's the thing. One of the topics we talked about was, when do you wait? They always talk about bankers saying, a banker is the guy that will sell you an umbrella when the sun is shining, but not when it's raining. Right? That's kind of the metaphor that they got.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, if that's true, how do I know when I've waited too long? How do I know when I'm in trouble? What are some warning signs that kick off? So I thought today, maybe you and I could just talk about, what are some signs that maybe you waited too long? Nobody can help you, right? It's one of those things like going, hey, listen. And the reason I want to do that is because I want people to understand that when they start to see some of these warning signs, red lights flashing, hey, get your shit together. You're in trouble, right? So let's help some people today. That's what I was hoping to do.
Well, and I kind of want to tag on to that a little bit. It's not always that you should be waiting for the warning signs, because there's the flip side of it is when you're flush, and like you said, it's easier to get an umbrella on a sunny day from a bank. When you're really flush, that also might be a very good time to be able to go talk with the bank and say, hey, can I get an extension on my line of credit? Can I get an expansion? Sure. Can I do this? Can I do that? Because you're very low risk, right? So there's also a time where you may want to go talk with your bank when you're in a good position, because you don't want to wait till it's too late, but even wait till it's starting to get to be a bit of a tougher sell. But I know you're going to go through this, because obviously there's warning signs that you can see in your financial statements, but I will say you need more than your financial statements. You need to truly understand your cash flow, because the financial statements, the way that all of the things are reported correctly, reported for your taxes, there are spots where there can be gaps in your actual cash flow. It's like you have to read all of them sort of together and sometimes see how everything fits together so you really understand what's happening. Cash flow is going to be the one that'll kill you the fastest. Revenue next, profit last.
Yeah. So profit, especially if you use, right, there's two different accounting methods, right? And we're saying this, I'm going, if you're an accountant, CPA, you're like going, yeah, duh. But if you're just a business owner, you might not realize this, right? That, there's a cash-based method, which is I recognize it in the accounting system that makes my financial statements as it happens. Cash comes in, I deposit into the bank, I record it as a sale, or whatever that is. cash goes out, I record it, right? That's the cash-based method. And that's the easiest, and a lot of smaller business, that's just what they should use. Unless, unless they have a lot of inventory, unless they have AR, right? Which means you're giving somebody an invoice, accounts receivable. You're giving them an invoice, which means you're letting them pay later than they actually get the good or service. Well, in that case, you probably need to use this thing called the accrual method. And I said accrual correctly, but I'm going to say it incorrectly in the way I hear it now, which is accrual, because it's a cruel world. It makes you think you made money when you didn't. Right?
Well,
because it's on paper, right? It's just on paper.
I'm just going to pile on that because I was going to call it cruel because nobody is more cruel than the government that taxes you because they tax you on money you've invoiced. Right. They haven't got paid yet. They get their cash oftentimes before you do. Like maybe not oftentimes. This is a timing thing. I get that. But you could send out an invoice, a big invoice, and you're waiting to get paid, and the government sees that as income. And you're paying taxes on that money. And then you have a client that pays late or sometimes doesn't pay at all. And so maybe the next tax year you're going, well, I actually didn't get paid that money. And you're trying to get something back. But it's amazing the government can get paid, technically can get paid before you do.
Oh, not technically. Here's how it happens. It happens to me every single year. I've got some clients that want to sign an agreement in November, December. They want to be invoiced before December 31st, right? Because it's the end of their year and they want to make sure that the invoice gets to them so they can record it as a bill.
Yep.
Then they don't pay though until I perform the service, which is in January or February. And sometimes I don't get paid till February or March. Yep. So think about it. I had to record it as income, which means I had no expense against it. It was just extra money. I'm paying tax on the full freight and not getting the money until 2 months later.
And exactly. And that one drives me nuts. That one really drives me nuts that it's,
you know who does that. You know exactly what entities do that. Oh, come on. You were in design. You know who your biggest customer was.
I know who all of them were, but you know what the worst one for it is the government. That's what
I'm talking about. It's always the government.
And it was the fiscal year end and it depends which level of government, but the one we served the most was their fiscal year end was end of March. And so we're talking right before end of March. But they'll come in and they'll do that. They'll say, hey, we want to spend our money. And with us, it's not the day before. I guess we were fortunate at times if it was January, they would come. But they were trying to clear out that budget and they were trying to get, things paid out. So it was in 1 year's budget, not the next. And didn't matter how it sort of affected us. It's just how it worked. Right.
Here's the whole problem with, and this is me just talking about the whole problem with government. And even when I was in the military and I was on an administrative officer side, it was a use or lose. Mm-hmm. And in business, I'm like, if we didn't use it, who cares? We didn't need it.
Yep.
In the military or in the government, if I don't use that money, it goes back in, and the next budgeting season, they go, oh, well, you didn't need it, so they don't give it to you just because you were responsible. Because you were responsible. That's why we ended up with dumb stuff like, we need a new treadmill. We don't need a damn new treadmill. We didn't need any of that.
I actually told my co-founder a few weeks ago, this is going back. I was going to say, I don't know if it's the same now. Of course it's the same now, but this is going back a lot of years, 15 years at least sort of thing. And I told him we did so much government work, and downtown Edmonton, people don't realize how many office towers have government agencies in these towers. It's not just where you think they're all over downtown. And we would be in all these towers meeting with all these different agencies. Like I said to my co-founder, I said, you know what? Every time you knew you walked into a government agency when it smelled like new carpet. Always. Permanently. because you get to the end of the year and it's like, if they have any budget left, it was the running joke is like, well, you get new carpet to make sure that they're spending because they don't want to lose their allocation. And there's a lot of years there where like, honestly, you just kind of go in, you see what happens and you kind of slap your head and walk out and go, well, that wouldn't happen in a business, but it's just, that's the way
definitely wouldn't happen in business, right? It definitely would happen in business, right? So, when we're talking about these warning signs, I mean, there's big 5 that I teach, not only to the bankers, but I teach it to business owners. I mean, the first one you and I tackle every single day. If you have sustainable losses, which means it's like loss after loss after loss, chances are high that your bank's not going to be able to touch you.
Yeah. They can't. They just can't.
Because here's people go, well, why not? I mean, I'm making money. I have bank or money in the bank. Why can't I do it? Because the way they calculate your loan capacity, how much you can take out, they anticipate that your loan payment is coming from profit. If you have negative profit after negative profit after negative profit, they're going to say, how are you going to make the payment? That's one of the first things. So a banker can't help you. That's one of the warning signs that you are in financial distress, and maybe you're doing it for taxes, but I'm telling you, if you ever want the help of the bank, you can't just keep showing loss after loss after loss.
Yeah. And the flip side that's a little bit frustrating is if you're really flush and you're trying to be like, hey, I'm a good fiscal manager, I want to have a really solid line of credit here so that I've got room to move, right? If you're really good fiscal management, you may never use that line of credit. If they think you're never going to use that line of credit, they're unlikely to want to give you a line of credit because they basically are tying up capital, reserving it for you. And if they think you're never going to use it, they don't want to give it to you. So there's this little middle ground where it's like, well, you're not in great shape, but you're in good enough shape. So we could give you some money because we know we can make some money off you. And that's just how it works, right? So it's like from the outside, it looks like a little bit of dark magic to me, but I understand it as they don't want to line up, kind of tie their own hands and not make money off of capital sitting there, right?
Yeah, because they do have to set it aside. If you and I both had lines of credit, the bank would have to set that aside. And if we didn't draw on it,
they're not making money.
Now, they're not making money, but if we all drew on it at once and because they're like, oh, he's not using it, we'll just overcommit. Yep. Then all of a sudden they don't have enough money. Yeah.
And I'm surprised they don't do that because, we've seen like back in 2008 and stuff, they did some pretty like funky stuff, some pretty funny business kind of stuff. And it reminds me a little bit of what you're saying of the airlines that actually sell more seats than they have, that they actually have, hoping that some people don't show up. But that it's true. Like the banks, they can't do that. They can't extend credit over and over and over again going, well, the odds are, I just don't think they do that. So it still gets into that point of when is the right time to go to the bank and say, I'd like a line of credit. It would be really great to have for a rainy day. I might need it. But hey, I'll probably will need it because we're going to probably have to dip in for this reason or that because of seasonality or something. It's probably easier to get it then, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a line of credit here at Cash on Mike, right? We have a line of credit and I'll use it on occasion just so they see me using it. But instantly I'll pay it back off because one of the rules, at least here, is you have to pay it down to 0 one time per year and let it rest, which means not draw on it again. Right? That's rule, or they'll pull the line. They'll take it away from you. Right? So,
okay.
So I try to use it so they don't like going, you never use it and take it away. But just know if you start to use your line, use it. As soon as the money comes in from whatever you used it for, and the things that you should use it for are your, I'll call it variable expenses, which most of us call it cost of goods sold, cost of sales. I use it for payroll in the hotel staffing company. I'll use it for, if I'm selling t-shirts, I would sell for t-shirts. In the bar, I would buy inventory with it. Make sure you're buying it that way. You're using your line of credit for working capital for your company. Working capital means what you need to support your sales level. I have to pay the employee. I have to buy the inventory. And then as soon as I get paid, I pay down the line. If you do that, you're going to be golden.
Yeah. And that's a, going back to my agency days, there were times where you guys, a bunch of you have experienced this. You mentioned AR. And you have a bunch of accounts receivable floating out there. Some of it's getting paid 30 days, but some of it's going to show up late. And there's some of it that you haven't even been able to invoice yet because, somebody wasn't around to sign off the final whatchamacallit, right? So there's, you do want to have that flexibility because with a lot of businesses, it's not a real nice steady flow of income in. It can be like feast, famine, feast, famine, feast, famine. And you just want to make sure you've got room to move there, right?
Yeah, exactly right. So, one of the other things that, I look at, cash flow, that's you and I's bread and butter. But the other things I look at that some people don't is, I'll say, employee turnover. Believe it or not, a bank will look at your employee turnover. Sometimes they'll say, hey, who's on your management team? And you'll give that to them, and they have that on their record and file. And then the next year they go, hey, who's on your management team? If they're seeing new names all the time, that's an indication that you're not doing things right. I worked with a company 2 years ago where they were 3 paychecks behind. People were just like falling out like crazy. You missed 3 pay. That's a month and a half. People going without money, and then they would catch up one, and then they'd still be another behind.
Yeah.
But what they didn't see, the payroll wasn't getting made. They were seeing the turnover. The bank was seeing the turnover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did your director of operations leave? Why did your vice president of sales leave?
Yeah.
He wasn't getting paid. Right? So,
that's the almost, and you hear that all the time with small businesses. It's all about making payroll. Like that's the number one thing you have to do. Like you have to make sure that your staff are taken care of, right? Or you're in big trouble.
Come on. How long would you stay? Larry Weinstein told me this the other day. He says, if I didn't get paid on Friday, I wasn't showing up on Monday.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That was the rule, right? That was the rule, he said.
Yeah, I've been in business since I think 1999. And I think I was late on payroll the entire time. And I'm talking late by like a day, maybe once or twice, because I literally just didn't realize it was payday. Like I kind of screwed up and they went, hey, it's payday. Oh, shit. That was back when I was doing the checks myself and literally walking them over and handing them to people. And, and like literally I got, after one experience of having it like a day late, I'm going, oh, shit. Like, so I had it in my calendar to ring bing and, and literally telling staff, like, if you don't get it, you come and tell me, because just in case my thing didn't bing and tell me. But now we have other people handling it, and they're better at remembering stuff than me, I guess.
I use Wave. Some people use QuickBooks or whatever. I use Wave because I'm just a smaller company. They're so good at doing all that. The reminder, I have to go review it every payroll cycle, but they're so good at reminding, right? So it's one of those things. So, but here, I've never missed a payroll. Never missed a payroll. But there have been at least 20 times where I didn't pay myself to make payroll.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've done that. And you know what? Virtually almost every single business owner has done that at some point, especially when they get to like a certain size or a certain capacity, but not huge. There's a certain point where you have resources and capital and people taking care of that. And like, I've never, ever missed a payroll. Like I said, I've been late for my own, forgot maybe twice in 25 years, but I've never missed a payroll because I will I would put in my own cash before I would miss payroll.
Hey, that's me.
Guaranteed.
That's me, right? I'm not going. I'll take no money and put in cash to not miss payroll.
Yeah, exactly. That's just.
And you know what? Employees don't see that part.
No.
Right? They never see that part. But I'm going to tell you what, if you're a business owner out there right now who's done that or does that, you are an unsung hero because you are doing the right thing. So I want to applaud that effort. I really do.
Yeah. And it's more common, I think, than anyone, especially anyone that's outside a small business realizes. It happens. And, with can be lumpy cash flow. It can be a downturn. It can be a million different things. But you see it all the time. Like you're being a cash flow business. We talk with business owners all the time. And this is what it is. It's a hard time sometimes.
If you're the type of owner right now that has had to do that, where you took money out of your pocket or you skipped a payroll for yourself, you need to come talk to me. I'm going to tell you what, because that's my mission in life, is to help you find hidden cash so you do not ever miss a payroll. And we build what's called transferable value back in your business. And this transferable value is about building a fund you can fund, building an amount of money so you can fund whatever it is you want to do next. You want to retire on a lake, you want to buy another company, you want to fund your kids' payroll or college. I can help you do that. Go to cashflowmike.com. Check out my course, A Clear Path to Cash. We have strategies that will put money in your pocket as early as this month. If you're struggling, if you're scared, contact me at cashflowmike.com.
Yeah. And you know what? Even if you're not struggling and scared, there's money there that's sitting there. Like at the end of the year, you also don't want to go, yeah, I know it's profitable, but I left a few $100,000 on the table. Like I've done that before. I still remember the one of the first times before I got into some of these spreadsheets that eventually turned into dry run. I remember, I can picture it like yesterday, looking at a spreadsheet on the table when I was like digging through this stuff and going, oh my God, I can't believe how much money we left on the table. And there was, a solid $6-figure $1 sitting there in front of me, and realizing like, yeah, we were profitable, but oh my God, what could we have done with that? Right. Like, so yeah, go talk with Mike and make sure that you're not just flush, but you're also you're not leaving money on the table, and you're socking that money away. Right.
Dude, I felt you teed me up really nicely for that.
All intentional. I had that thing planned for
that was like a silent segue.
Yeah, no, like I'm not just sitting here sticking to my knit, and like I'm making sure that you're teed up and ready to roll.
Hey, it is what it is. I appreciate that. I thought that's what you meant. It was around a halfway mark, and you're like going, he's talking about this now. Oh, that's me. I'm supposed to jump in. Yeah, there you go.
Completely by accident, to be honest. But anyway, I'll take it.
All right, so here's one. Here's one. We're talking about just warning signs. Here's one that I always question. And I gave an example of it today in class. It's called an impulsive cash grab, meaning that all of a sudden I'm discounting things crazily. I'm selling off assets that probably are generating revenue, but now if I get rid of them, I can't even help myself because I got rid of the truck or I got rid of whatever. The one I think about or talk about is there's a software product that's fantastic, and I'm going to praise them, and then I'm going to tell them that they're doing something dumb. But that's me. Because I don't know what's going on in their world, right? But the product they have is called Geru, Geru.com. And it is a sales funnel simulation software, right? Where you can build your whole funnel, what you do. I go from Facebook to this landing page to this. And you can say, we get 75% conversion, we get 25% this. And then I send them an email and 10% of the people respond. You can build out the whole simulation. It will build out an expectation of how much revenue, profit that you'll get off of this funnel. It's fantastic. And they have like 4 different levels. We'll say anything from $69 a month to $200 a month, right? Just different levels with different features. They also have this special going on where it's $67 lifetime. Like, think about that. Like, that's even cheaper than your cheapest monthly subscription. Now I can get it one-time payment, the $67 for the whole kit and caboodle. What does that tell me? You need cash. That you're willing to just let me use this thing forever for 1 month subscription. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I've seen the model before. It's sometimes it's about cash, but actually with early stage companies, a lot of times it's for you need people talking about you, and you need referrals, and you need reviews is a really big one. You want to be able to get reviews and all that. So if it's a fairly young product, it may be cash.
It's not. I bought the lifetime 5 years ago. They still do it today. I think it's part of a business model.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Yeah.
I would not cannibalize my lowest monthly subscription with that product. I mean, I would take the highest and give me 3 months up front. So if their highest is $200, give me $600. You can have it for your life. If I was in cash, their lifetime. That's why I'm confused. Like, going, what are we doing here? Why is it user? Are you trying to raise money off of users, or I don't get it.
Yeah, no, that I agree with you that it's the premium one that you may actually get, because you're looking for people that are. It's almost like the cup of coffee. Like, are they really going to be big clients that are really going to use your software when it's such a quick, small purchase versus. Yeah, could you get enough customers coming in at $600 and kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, get those reviews that you want, maybe get some cash moving fairly quickly, but get maybe some premium customers that are willing to pay a little bit more. No, interesting. Not sure.
It could be, though, that they're trying to reduce the churn rate. If I have more customers, people that are churning, the ones that bought the lifetime don't churn. Can't cancel if you bought the lifetime.
Yeah, I just don't really see what the benefit to them would be.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. You're having more users, which creates more support, which creates, there's only a cost associated with it, and it's more than $67.
Yeah,
gotta be.
Yeah, and it's feels very artificial. Like, in a way, it's like if you're trying to manipulate your churn rate, that's bizarre, unless they see that as a real issue and they're trying to raise a round. But if you're trying to raise a round, they're going to see all of that other stuff and go, this doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't add up. So,
all right. So what about the furniture companies that have liquidation sales like every 3 months? That seems like just a cash grab to me. Like, we're struggling because I'm telling you, I get my hair cut right down the road. There's a mattress store right next to it. I don't think I've ever saw 3 people in there in 3 years. I'm sure people go there to buy mattresses. Maybe it's a quick purchase, but it seems like a lot of overhead expense or something going on there.
Yeah, I a lot more about retail and inventory management and everything than I do by a mile. I'm just speculating that like those mattresses take up a lot of room. You have to turn that product over. You need space to bring it in. But the other thing is there's always a sale on mattresses. And if you never have a sale on mattress and you're a mattress company, are you just driving everybody to the next store down the street? Because it seems like it's this, probably unfortunately for them, a dive to the bottom, but also fortunately for them is I think it's an extremely high margin product. And I imagine they're actually making some hay on even pretty steep discounts.
Yeah, I just don't understand the whole furniture, mattress, whatever. I'm like, because it seems like one will go out of business, and then like 2 months later, another one pops up in the same store. Like, I don't know what's going on there. So,
yeah, I'm curious though. Because being cash flow Mike, I'm curious. How much of the furniture in your house was bought full price?
Well, if I ask my wallet, it says all of it. like it's expensive. I mean,
no, but expensive is different than full price. Like,
I don't know, 20%, 30%, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Probably,
I don't even
maybe
think it
even
was
less
that high in here. I don't even think it was that high in here. Like, I like a deal, and like it's not. I'm not talking about whether it's expensive stuff, but could I get a deal on it? Like, could I get a little bit of a break? Right?
Yeah, so
I'm not sure I own
are,
anything that was full price. Like, I'm just like,
yeah, but except for you'll buy the Japanese denim and the Murano t-shirts and all that type of stuff. I mean,
yes,
I'm okay. I want to look and I want a quality of furniture. So I don't pay attention to the deals. If I like something and I think it will fit, I mean, that's just a silly credenza, but it probably costs more than it should have. I just the look. I was just looking for the look.
I do like, like my wife says, I research the fun out of things because I always have to like find the perfect thing. And then I want to find a deal. And if I can't find a deal, I may try and negotiate. I've literally tried to negotiate like in like the Hudson's Bay company up here, like the Bay, which would be like walking into Target and negotiating. Like, I've done it before, right? Because of like, I want a deal. Like, I can't help myself. But, even some of the, like, I do like, a lot of this, the clothes are the one place that I've probably been a little bit full price at times, but I still love a deal. Like, if some of the stuff's expensive, if it goes on sale, I'm like, oh geez, kid in a candy store saving dollars by spending a whole pile of money, which I know is not the fiscal. Sometimes the fiscally smart thing to do is like, you're saving money by buying a shitload of stuff.
Yeah. Well, all right. So I don't know. I don't think I negotiate that well anymore. I think I used to, and anymore I'm like going, nah, it seems okay. I don't want to get ripped off. I mean, I think landscapers and people who do stuff like that, I might negotiate harder than Target. I don't think I negotiated Target at all. I think I just pick it up and pay for it.
Well, probably not Target, but I have tried in big box stores before to negotiate. But I will try and save. Although it's funny because I probably won't try and do that. I'm opposite of you. I probably wouldn't push it with people like that are like service providers. It's more likely buying product because I don't know, maybe it feels more faceless, and I'm like, I'll try and get a deal. Like, I'll always try and cut a deal.
All right. So believe it or not, we're talking about being customers right now. And that's a warning sign. One of the warning signs of a failing company or somebody's on the rocks is customers that are leaving. Right? You're just leaving. Why are customers? Why are people churning? Right? We mentioned that a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. Why are people, firing you? Like, I'm telling you what, in this neighborhood, a referral is gold. If you just got somebody, somebody to do your lawn, do your landscaping, whatever it is, you're going to have most 10 to 15 houses, up and down the block. It's gold. Mm-hmm. Opposite of that is, hey, don't get them. They're in trouble. They're not doing anything. You're going to lose 10 or 15 customers and not even talk to me. It's just that 5 people dropped you. I'm like going, yeah, I don't want that either. I'll drop you just as quick.
Yeah.
You know what the perfect ratio, we talk about customer concentration is, right? So, and I'm talking to business owners now. Have you ever heard of the perfect percentage of revenue that any one customer should represent in your business? There's a perfect number.
Okay.
It's 8%, right?
Okay.
You want your largest customer to represent less than 8% of your total revenue. So if you're doing $1 million a year, what's 8%? Like 80,000?
80 grand, yeah.
Yeah, 80 grand. So you want your largest customer to do that, because if something bad happens, it's a blip. It's not a major catastrophe. If somebody's 50% of your company, you lose half your company in one customer.
Yeah.
So 8% is the target that you're trying to drive, to. I want to get so many customers that my largest one only represents as much.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Does it also stand true on the flip side that you actually want a few premium customers that actually are covering 5 to 8% or something like that, versus just like straight up volume of always new, right? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Well, in some businesses, you can't do that, right? If you look at subscription models, I mean, everybody's paying $100.
You can't.
Everybody has the same percentage, as everyone else. Yeah. But when I was in janitorial, when I was in, even now at Cashflow Mike, I'll have larger customers, and I try to keep them under 8% of the total revenue for the year, if I can. Yeah. If not, I know I need to go sell more lower end customers.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're not trying to discourage them from buying. Oh, you're way too high. Quit buying. No, you're trying to get other customers to balance that out.
Yeah, because if I lose the big one, I don't want it to hurt me. I don't want it to hurt the company. I'm trying to just stay, whereas I'm not hostage. How about that? I'm not a hostage to my largest customer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really interesting. And it's important. I remember back in my creative agency days, we had a wide range of customers, but we had brought up our minimums so that it was sort of balanced out. But with some of our largest customers, what we tended to do was we would stretch out the length of contracts, and make sure that we weren't, it's like, all we're going to do is work for this customer for 3 straight months. Like, no. It's a 6 to 8 month to 12-month contract. And you actually smooth that out, because you need all of those other customers. You have to serve all of those other customers. You have to make sure not all your money's coming from one customer. And so it was, I don't know I have no idea what the percentage was. Now I would go and probably calculate that and go, was it 8%? But I don't really know. But I know it was, we would be very conscious of not having all our eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care if you're selling Fadiddle hoppers or if you're selling, Kodak pictures or whatever it is.
That's better than the last few weeks.
That was pretty good, I think.
That was all right, yeah.
But I mean, you're right. You don't have to, I don't want people to obsess over 8%. That's the perfect. That's the goal, right? That doesn't mean that's what happens. But when you look at it, you have less risk in your company where one person controls your destiny because of that, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of destiny, and I brought up Kodak. I mean, how many times have I talked about Kodak? And what they did was they missed the mark, and it was, and they should have seen it, because it was flat and then declining sales. Why? Because they let the market move past them, away from them. Right, digital cameras came into play, and they ignored it for 5 or 6 years before they decided they had to do something about it. It was too late. It was too late. The market had moved past.
Yeah. You know what I saw the other day? I don't think it was Polaroid, but it was literally a Polaroid type camera. I don't remember even what brand it was, but it was like everything is old is new again, where it would actually give an instant physical photo. Now, I don't think this is a big widespread product. It was in just some shop that they had this, but I kind of laughed. I'm like, well, that's kind of funny. Actually, it's come back.
There's some company that makes them for kids. They're like pink or purple or whatever cameras, and they go, and it'll pop out.
Might even been that, yeah.
Could have been. But it's not the same size Polaroid. They're like a quarter of the size. It's like smaller, like miniature version. Oh, and I'm seeing
this camera was huge, and it was big and bulbous, and then had it was a pretty big picture that came out, because I do remember, I'm like, you would carry that around as a big ass camera, right?
No, this thing that I bought it for my girls. It's like $40-$50. Where they get you is it's like $25 for the pack of the film.
Oh yeah. That's
yeah. But then I had to get the wire that goes across the walls and the clips so they could hang it. And I'm like, oh, that was a thing for a while. Right. So
man, yeah.
There's a whole economy around just Polaroid camera.
Yeah.
Or that type of camera.
I still remember when film, there was a year where it basically flipped over. So there was digital, but it was a point where it was good enough to flip over. And it was when I was in university and I was actually taking, because I was a design major, and I was taking some photography courses, and we had we had photo studios and we literally had a dark room, and we would do all of our own film, all of our own printing, all of our own everything. And I had a really nice film camera that I used. And then I had this little window and I'm like, man, I better sell this camera. And then I didn't. And 6 months later, it was like, no, you can't sell it. It had just flipped just like that. And suddenly film cameras were completely worthless. It felt like overnight.
Yeah. Probably like this show. I guess flipped over is completely worthless overnight.
It's just there's it depends how strong the beer is. There's some point where it flips right over, it becomes completely useless.
All right, hey, we got 100
actually, so 9.5.
Yeah. He doesn't tell me what it is. It might be 25. I mean, the way I
yeah. Hey, Pat, make sure you just really take one of these and age it till next year. So it'll be like about 12% by the time Mike gets it.
Yeah, there you go. So, hey, you can go to mikeandblaine.com. You can also be a beer sponsor. We're not out of beer sponsor slots. We can do more of those. We also have a mid-roll, right? I know you don't probably know about this, but you can actually sponsor this show in the mid-roll. Just contact us. Instead of talking about dry run, instead of talking about cash flow, Mike, we will talk about you in the middle of the show. And I'm telling you, it's fantastic. It's better than the beer sponsor. Come be a mid-roll sponsor and you'll like it.
Comment and Pat just wrote 8.7. That's on the
chat.
So,
is that what he said?
That's a little heavier than I thought. Good on you, Pat. Like, age that sucker a little bit and give Mike something really heavy. But that's got a little octane to it there. So
hey, that's why I said it's like 25. I don't know, something. Yeah.
Nice. That's good stuff. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, follow, like, all the rest, and don't miss an episode. And we're here every week, except for if you're watching live here. Next week is one of the very few weeks out of the year that we're not recording live. We're gonna upload kind of like an old favorites episode. I don't know, Mike, if you got a favorite. But because we're both traveling next week, Mike's in Cabo and I'm heading down to Scottsdale, so we will circle back. The following week, the first week in November, we'll be live and kicking, and I hopefully won't have to wear a heavy sweater.
I would hope not. It'd probably be 100 when you get down there.
I'm hoping. Let's hope so. I could use some of that.
Hey, good to see you again, man. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.